take on this conflict. Now Jesus learned that the Pharisees had heard that he was gaining and baptizing more disciples than John, although in fact it was not Jesus who baptized, but his disciples. So he left Judea and went back once more to Galilee. Now he had to go through Samaria, so he came to a town in Samaria called Sychar, near the plot of ground Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired as he was from the journey, sat down by the well. It was about noon. When a Samaritan woman came to draw water, Jesus said to her, "Will you give me a drink?" His disciples had gone into the town to buy food. The Samaritan woman said to him, "You're a Jew, and I'm a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink?" For Jews do not associate with Samaritans. Jesus answered, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is that asks you for a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." John 4, verses 1 to 10. Hello, my friend. This is Clyde. I am a man. I'm black. I'm married. I am a Christian. I'm a pastor. I interact with people all the time, and in one way or the other, on any one or any combination of those identifications. Some of those interactions are great and mutually beneficial. Sometimes they can become problematic. I have learned that each interaction has the potential conflict, and we can ignore it or stay and work through it, hoping it will turn out for some good. Today we're going to discuss the topic, take on this conflict. Jesus, a man, a Jewish man, a single Jewish man, had to pass through Samaria on his way from Judea to Galilee. He did not plan for what was about to happen. He was exhausted. It was noon, and he came upon a well. He did the best thing, sat down by the well, while his disciples went into town to get some food. Everything is okay so far, right? Then a woman came to the well to draw water. They don't know each other. My parents raised me not to talk to strangers, but you and I know that sometimes you have to break the rule. This young man, Jesus, who is tired and sitting at the well, asked an innocent favor. "Will you give me a drink?" Jesus was not hitting on her. He was simply thirsty, and maybe, just maybe, this woman would be kind enough to give him some water. You never know how someone will respond, but the only response Jesus was looking for was for her to say something. He would take it from there. She addressed the elephant in the room. "You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink?" She just introduced tension into what was supposed to be a simple, harmless interaction that could be done in less than 2 minutes. A smart Jewish man would not have asked in the first place for water, and certainly after her response, that smart Jewish man should have not gone on any further with the conversation. But Jesus had options. He told himself, "Take on this conflict." This single Jewish man, all by himself with a Samaritan woman at a well at noon, he took on the conflict. He did not introduce himself. He introduced an idea that opened the door to one of two possibilities. "If you know the gift of God," he said, "and who it is that asks you for a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." John 4 and verse 10. The conflict is on. She could have asked him his name or asked about this strange idea of living water. That is how people are challenged to work through tensions in conversations. You say something and the other person might respond in a way that you did not expect. Now you have to make a good response, or else the tension will escalate. Jesus was a master communicator, and he took charge of the conversation and gradually worked through the conflict, ultimately to resolution. But what is the real conflict here? You know it. Jesus saw an opportunity to share the gospel with someone, but she was not here to talk gospel. She was a Samaritan who came to fetch water, so she had no obligation to engage a Jewish man in conversation. Notice that he did not come directly at her the first round. He simply asked for a drink. But he was so sharp that every time she responded, he would find a way to respond with something of what he had to offer, whether it was living water, spring of water welling up into everlasting life. One might ask, why water? They were standing at a well, and she came to fetch water, and he needed to drink some water. He then diverted to her reality. Let's come in for the kill. Go call your husband, he said. That's another angle to build rapport, but this one is closer to her reality, closer to her spiritual need, which brought them to be talking about worship. How did they move from asking for a drink of water while standing at a well to be talking about worship? And eventually, Jesus got her right where he wanted her. The woman said, I know that Messiah called Christ is coming. When he comes, he will explain everything to us. Then Jesus declared, I, the one speaking to you, I am he. John 4:25-26. What? All this time she had been talking to the Messiah, the real Messiah who was promised to come to save people? That woman, she left her water pot and ran back into the town and called people to come meet the Messiah. What was the result? Many of the Samaritans from that town believed in him because of the woman's testimony. He told me everything I ever did. John 4:39. My friend, we are here to share the gospel with people like this woman. The situation is not always what we desire or expect, but like Jesus, we need to learn the art of conversation. We need to learn the art of taking on conflict in conversation with the people we are sharing the gospel with. They are hardly likely to come up to you and say, hey, I want to get saved. Can you help me? No. Often it is a conversation and working through the conflict and looking for smart openings to share that Jesus is who they have been looking for, and you can introduce them to Jesus. Conflict resolved. You and I can win people in regular conversations at the well, on the plane, at a restaurant, on the golf course, anywhere. We as Christians need to get sharp enough to capture an opportunity and work through the conflict in a conversation and trust God to create an opening to tell them about Jesus and for him to give you the courage to work through the conflict patiently. We have to be ready because it's harvest time. We don't have a lot of time left, and we want to win some people so they can escape hell and spend eternity in heaven with you and Jesus. And it is all because you were bold and smart enough to start a conversation, work through the conflict in that conversation, and gradually offer Jesus. My friend, you can do it. You can win someone for Jesus from a simple encounter. Just be willing to take on the conflict and share Jesus. The Holy Spirit will empower you in that situation to win another soul for Jesus.